What is multidimensional healing? Here's an overview. Basically, multidimensional healing is addressing the multidimensional you. So, where that begins is with your oversoul. So, you have this bigger part of you that Julia Cannon calls the big me, and then the big me expresses itself through the mini me, or in my case, Sally. So I have a great big oversoul, and then a piece of it expresses itself into physical form, which is me, Sally, or you. Now, what happens here is that the oversoul, because it's the eternal part of you, will always work to protect itself. And as I go through my own experiences, I find that I mess up quite a bit. And so I become out of alignment. I may become depressed. I may have illnesses. I may go through trauma. And as we navigate through this lifetime, it's almost impossible not to get out of alignment with the higher self or the bigger part of you. And what happens is that we begin to wobble. And if we wobble too far, then the bigger you and the mini you will then begin to separate itself apart, because the oversoul, the bigger part of you, is going to do whatever it takes to protect itself. So what that looks like is, if you can imagine that maybe your hand or your thumb has gangrene. And if you and your doctor cannot heal the gangrene in your thumb, then the doctor will amputate the thumb so that the bigger part of you, your physical body, can continue to live. Otherwise, if you continue down that path, it's likely to take you out. The same thing is with the oversoul. Now, when we croak, and eventually we all do, when we croak, then the bigger part of you will reabsorb the mini you gradually, and it'll take it through its healing. For Christians and people of faith, as you ascend into heaven, you'll go through the cleansing process as you reemerge back into those forms. So with that said, what do we do when the mini me and the bigger me begins to separate out? And what happens if we don't heal it? Well, what happens if we don't heal it? It begins to affect our other bodies. Knowing that we're multidimensional beings, we have a spirit body, we have a mind body, and we have a physical body. The mind body is not exactly what you think it is. So when we talk about the mind body in upcoming videos, it's not the same as, say, what's going on inside the brain. It's a difficult concept. It took me years to wrap my own head around it. And I will do my best to explain it as we move forward. For now, on our overview, the next step is, after we heal the mini me to the bigger me, or the mini you to the bigger you, once we refuse those energies back, then we can address the spirit body. We're going to look for blocks, barriers, and illnesses in the spirit body. And then we're going to go to the mind body. And then we're going to go to the physical body. Knowing each time that we address each body, that we're looking for blocks, barriers, and illnesses. Illnesses are not exactly the same type of illnesses that we naturally experience in our physical form. My understanding is the illness is just the imbalance. So basically, energetically speaking, we're just rebalancing the energies. And then you and God do the rest. I'm just the facilitator. So just know that, we're not individually the healer. We're just the focused point between you and God, essentially. So then, once we clear the oversoul with the mini me, then we clear the spirit body, mind body, and physical body. We can now address the most interesting part, I find, and that is what David Hayes, the praying medic, would call the accuser in the court of heaven. And I do recommend that you pick up his book. You can find it on Amazon. It's a very interesting read. He's got some excellent books out there on divine healing. I do implement some of his work in what I do. I am not personally, I don't have a religion affiliation, but I do follow God and I do follow the teachings of Yeshua. And I do see their teachings very beneficial, and I align with that. And so I think all of us need to approach our own healing wherever we are and move from there, because I don't believe there really is a wrong way to heal, so long as you want to go through the healing process. And we'll address that at the end of this video. This next part, where we are addressing the advocate in the court of heaven. Now, that is what I said is most interesting to me. Now, if you are of a religious faith, you might call that a demon who's accusing you that you've done something wrong. And you know what? You have done something wrong. You know you've done something wrong. So in order to heal it, you have to admit it. We find this also even for those people who are atheists and agnostic, when we take them through QHHT, the deep hypnosis sessions, that we have to address in our subconscious mind the things that we've done wrong. We have to own it. And that's what he's talking about, even though he's using his belief system in a faith to get him there. We all are addressing the same thing. And that's what I really want to hit home. It is the same thing. So the higher self, the subconscious mind, the accuser in heaven, demon or subconscious mind, it is still telling us, in order for us to heal, we must be honest with ourselves and say, you know what? I did do that. I did do it, but I've learned from it. I'll not do it again. And I ask God, and I'll just use that because that's what I do personally, to cleanse me of that, forgiving myself because we're our own judges, cleanse myself, and ask God to remove that accuser or remove my higher self from judging myself. However you want to look at it, either way, both work. And it's amazing. So when I do that and I'm tuned into you, I can simply go through the process of being an advocate for you in the court of heaven, as David Hayes would call it, and ask for the accuser to read what is wrong. Now, I personally may not know what they're accusing you of, but your higher self does. The subconscious part of you does know. And as I would focus my attention, intention, healing energies upon those events, without knowing what those events are, we can essentially clear those out of your energetic field. It's a wonderful thing to do because my clients have come back and have reported some amazing transformations that they've had. Vivid dreams, sleeping better at night, just some amazing work. All the while that whatever they've kept hidden, even from themselves, has been removed without me ever discovering what their own secrets are. The point is, the subconscious mind will tell us if they are ready to allow it to go or not. And in some cases, people haven't been ready to let it go. Now, when that happens, that's when a phone call takes place and we have a discussion. And all you would have to do as a potential client is just in your own mind connect to those events and ask yourself, are you ready to let it go? What have you learned? And it's just a process by which we go. Many things we've done in the past are like, oh yeah, I'll never do that again. I've learned my lesson. Those are energies that I can help you remove long distance. And we can do that together without me ever knowing what those transgressions are that took place in your life. The results are amazing. Now, if you're holding on to something and you're in denial, well, that's an entirely different conversation. And we'll be diving into this later in future videos. For now, back to the overview of what we're doing. Once we get the accuser in the court of heaven removed, now we're digging down further into the minutia. Now we're finding localized illnesses. We're finding localized blocks, barriers, and illnesses. And they can also be hidden too. So again, multi-layered, multifaceted. So now we're looking at localized illnesses to be healed. Once and if there are any blocks or barriers that need to be removed, including those that are also hidden. Those get all moved out. And then there's one more step to go. So far, I don't believe I found any more beyond that yet, but we'll see, because you know what? I'm a student of learning what's happening in the universe. And I'm not a master. I always worry about somebody that calls themselves a master of something, because I feel like there's so much to learn. I don't know how any of us can be a master. So we are always need to be open to the process of learning. But back to the overview. So once we get to the point of this next phase, after we remove the blocks, barriers, and illnesses that are all localized in a particular area of our body. So if you're diabetic, it's likely you have a localized illness in your pancreas. If you have autoimmune disease, you're going to find localized illnesses in your bone marrow and your thyroid and your thymus and, you know, in those systems. So once we clear those out, then there's one more place to look, and that's the dark spirit. I'm not sure exactly what the dark spirit energy is. When I tune into it, I'm not finding that it's demonic. I'm not finding that it's an entity that's ever lived. But what is coming to me, and it does make sense after 60 plus people I've worked on doing this newer modality, it's a parasite. It's an energetic parasite. And I have to be very careful personally removing it, because it can make you feel dizzy and lightheaded. And actually, energy healing is probably going to make you feel that way, regardless who helps you energetically. You can go to a Reiki person, you could go to any other energy healers. It's likely you're going to feel dizzy. But this type of dizzy affects me when I'm moving it out. And what that tells me is that this parasite is trying so hard to survive, it will attack me in the process of removing it. So for those energy healers out there that are looking to help their clients rid themselves of these dark spirit parasites, give me a shout. Let's talk about how we can work together to move those out without it attaching itself to you, because it is very parasitical. And it can really throw you off. I've been working with some energy healers that have lost their effectiveness when they're helping others because this thing is really sticky. It's like a sticky ick. So anyway, with that said, I just want to give you an overview of what multidimensional healing is, what areas that we will be addressing, and know that it will take some time to process through this. I believe it takes probably a month or so, maybe up to 2 months through the start to finish. You can only remove so much energy at a time. The body can handle only so much. We also have to go through and make sure that we're balancing our functions as we go. And the most important thing, regardless if you are working with me, if you're working with another energy healer, what I want to make sure that you are all doing is don't get hung up on one modality or that modality or this person, that person. Bring in your team of people who can help you heal. And that means, especially for those that are taking medications, make sure that you are reaching out to your healthcare professional. I cannot stress this hard enough or strong enough. You do not want to take medications if your body doesn't need them. So if you are going to choose to try energy healing, please, please, please reach out to your healthcare professional, your doctor, your nurse practitioner. Make sure that you bring them on board as the team of people helping you heal, to make sure that they are doing what they need to do to check your blood work and make sure that your stats look good, because they may have to adjust your medications as you go through this process. It's happened every single time I worked with somebody, including myself. I used to take Synthroid. My doctor took a while to believe that I no longer need Synthroid. I was on Synthroid for 20 years and I've come off my thyroid medicine completely, but I had to prove it. I had to go and get my blood work done every 3 months to make sure that my body does not need that particular medication. Coming off medications, do need to be monitored by your doctor because it will create another problem. So we don't want to fix problem A and create problem B. Again, regardless if you're working with me or any other energy healer, alternative person, make sure you go to your doctor and let them know that you're going to try this and to please watch you. It is their job. Now, some doctors are for this, some doctors are not. Just say it doesn't matter. I just need you to watch my vitals and share with me what is happening. I fortunately have a doctor that is into alternative healing, and I love that. That's why I stay with her, and I will stay with her until I take my own last breath. So with that said, thank you very much for watching. Also be checking this out on Comfy Sundays. We're going to start those May 15th, 2022. And we're going to do it at 8 p.m. going live to take your questions to find out how you may benefit from multidimensional healing. Again, take care and work to stay well. Ciao.